Hey everybody, something I'm excited to talk to you about today, and that is this right here. It's an auxiliary fuel tank. This is a 50-gallon fuel tank. It is called a Titan Trekker. I'll put a link in the description below so that you can go and check it out. I got this because going to the truck stops and refueling can be really time consuming. And I just kind of wanted to see if I could just kind of avoid some of that and just be able to stretch it out a little bit further between my stops. So anyway, if you've never fueled up at a truck stop, I'll show you a little clip here to show you kind of what's involved, and you can see how it can become time consuming. Okay, well, we just thought we'd show you one of our gas stops. We always go to truck stops because truck stops are just easy for us to get in and out with this rig. But you always have to go in, prepay first, and then they'll have you set up. One thing to remember is that these nozzles are huge, and it will put out a whole lot more diesel than it will at any other place that you go to. Make sure you put that nozzle all the way down in there. Otherwise you will wear this. We try to hit the Flying J's as much as we possibly can, because the Flying J's offer 8 cents discount per gallon if you have a Good Sam's member club. So that's kind of something you might want to remember. But you see how fast it comes out of there and fills up. It don't take no time at all to fill up. Something else to know is that you're going to have a pump on each side. If you was to come into one of these places backwards, like we did one time, there was only two of us in there, me and another trucker. We both came in the wrong direction. Well, it doesn't matter for them because they're going to put a hose in each side and pump up. Well, with us just being on one side, we were on the slave side. Everything is done by the master pump. So what you have to do is take the pump out of this one, lay it on the ground, put the slave side into your tank, then you got to come back over here, you lift the handle, and then you can pump. So it's just something to remember. If you ever come in backwards, don't worry about having to turn around. You can still get your gas no matter what. This is the painful part. Watching the money go up. Woo, thank goodness, I'm glad that quit. Might have to get a second job. You notice I am wearing gloves because these pumps are never clean. There's diesel fuel all over everything. Now, something that you want to do after you've filled up, you're going to go in and get your receipt for the actual amount that you paid. You always want to pull forward. There'll be a line on the parking lot up in front of you. Always pull forward as soon as you can so that another driver can get in behind you. If you go up to that white line, you know you're up far enough. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to pull up to that white line. I'll go in, I'll get my receipt. We're all done. That's it. Well, some of the things that I didn't show on that video was me walking in to start with, staying in line to check, to go up to the counter to tell her how much fuel I was going to get. You know, that takes time. The walking back out to your truck, then you're fueling up, then you're walking back in, you pick up your receipt. And those truck stops are full of all kinds of little shiny things around there that everybody likes to look at. And so when you walk in, everybody says, oh, look at this and look at that. And Oh, hey, look, they've got sandwiches that they sell here. They got chicken place in here, or they got a hamburger joint in here. Let's go ahead and have lunch. And so now we've turned into another process, and now I've got to go and park the rig, and we come back in, we stand in line again, and we get our food. And you just get the idea of how that one little stop for fuel can turn into a real big ordeal. Well, this really cuts down on that. You don't have to be stopping every so many hours to be pumping in fuel all the time. And a lot of times you're like, well, even if it's just a bathroom break, you think, well, I might as well go in and I'll just top off with some fuel anyway as long as I'm here. That's just kind of the routine that you just kind of get into. This avoids all of that. But something that I didn't realize was going to happen was how much freedom it was really going to give me when I'm out on the road. I'm not looking and planning my fuel stops anymore. I don't have to worry about that. For instance, we're like in central Missouri. If I was just to take off and just head south, I'd go down to New Orleans. That's an easy trip. I could make it to New Orleans, not even have to stop for fuel. Not too long ago, we showed you a couple videos of trips to Branson. For us, that's around a 4-hour drive. We drive down to Branson, we drive all around when we're down in Branson, and we drive home. Never even had to stop for fuel one time. That's huge, huge freedom that it gives you without having to worry about that and worry about your next gas stop. Something else I wanted to talk about was the fact was that we're not just tied to like, okay, you get in a truck and you can never get out. We're not like that. We're not that strict. We're not going to make it that bad. You know, if you got a nature call or something, we're going to take care of it. But there's other ways of doing it without having to go into a gas stop. I'll show you a couple clips as an example. Well, here's one of the ways that we make our pit stops while we're out here on the road is we come into these commuter parking lots. They work out real well. Normally you have a way to turn in and go right on back out again, so it's easy to maneuver and get through. And so it works out real well for us as a little rest stop. Well, here's another example of one of our pit stops. This is at actually a truck driver parking area, or a little rest stop alongside the highway. I'm not really sure what that bathroom is like, but I know ours are clean. So that's just another example of another one of our pit stop that we look for. Okay, you've seen the kind of freedom that it gives you to have a tank like this and be able to take on that extra fuel when you want to. Probably the big question is, what do these things cost? Well, these Titan Trekkers are not real cheap. You're going to be looking at probably a good $1,200 for one of these, but don't run away. There are other alternatives. The metal tanks don't cost as much. And there's one that I was looking at. I'll put a link down in the description of it. It's a metal tank, and this one works on an electric fuel pump, so that when it starts getting low, you hit the button and it pumps gas into your tank. With this one that I was looking at, it's a gravity feed system. So what it does is it just constantly keeps your main tank in your truck full. And so when you start to see your gas gauge start to go down on the truck in your tank, then you know that your auxiliary tank is empty and that you're just going to be working off of what you got left in your main tank. I'm sure it works just fine. I can't really say much about it. I don't have any experience with that. All I can tell you is I'll put a link down in the description below if you want to check it out. I just can't recommend these auxiliary tanks enough. It is just such a life changer when it comes to taking your trips. It will just take all the worry away. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this. Leave me a comment if you use one of these auxiliary tanks, or if you've been thinking about getting an auxiliary tank. Whatever questions you got, any kind of comments, put them down below. I like hearing from you folks. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.